Buddy Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern. It is Monday here on this show, and you know what that means? We have a lot to talk about here today. And actually, before we talk about what I'm sure everybody wants to talk about, we actually have breaking news. Tammy Sytch, moments ago, literally as the music started for this show, was sentenced to 17 years. 8 years probation for, well, a number of things. We can get into that a little bit later here on the show. But that just came down. She had given a statement about a half hour ago. This had been going on since, I think, like 6 a.m. or something like that. It's been going on forever. But 17 years with 8 years probation is what I've just been told. So that is the update on the Tammy Sytch story. We could talk more about that here in a while. But yes, there is a lot to get into here today because CM Punk is back in WWE. Happened on Saturday night at Survivor Series. A very interesting show, really, the way that they did all of this. And we could talk about it a lot here. We talked about it a lot on Saturday's Wrestling Observer Radio with Dave Meltzer, last night's Brian and Vinny and Craig show. But we'll give you all of the results of the Survivor Series, tell you what they did throughout the show to really, when they shot the angle, my first thought was it was complete incompetence. But it turned out it was not incompetence at all. It was very, very clever. And I probably should have known a lot earlier that he was showing up, but I had no idea. And I was fixing to leave when that music hit. So a lot to get into here today. And he will be on Raw tonight, the first hour of which is commercial-free. Back in a moment to kick it off, Observer Live.
Your next contest this evening is a hair versus hair match.
Show. Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also WrestlingObserver.com. So, just to get this news out of the way, Tammy Sitch was involved in a fatal car crash. Killed a 75-year-old man March 25, 2022. She was transported to the hospital. Unknown injuries. Sample of blood was taken. Arrested on DUI, manslaughter-related charges. Toxicology reports found her blood alcohol content 3.5 times the legal limit during the fatal car crash. She posted a $227,000 bond, but a judge deemed her to be a danger to the community, revoked the bond. She was returned to jail. August 16, she pled no guilty. And moments ago, she was sentenced to 17 years in prison and another, I believe, 8 years probation. Yes, 8 years probation. So if you went through the list of the last decade, 5 times in 4 weeks in 2012, 3 times in 2015, driving under the influence, on probation, 2 DUIs in 2018, fugitive from justice charges, 6 counts of contempt of court, bench warrant, another arrest, another DUI, 2019. So anyway, that situation is wrapped up as of moments ago. 13 DUI incidents, including the death. DJ notes here. So that's how this wrapped up. I believe she could have gotten 25 years, but they gave her 17. So, and then, of course, the probation afterwards. Well, we got to talk about CM Punk. He's back. He is back. This from WrestlingObserver.com. After nearly a decade, damn it. If it had only been a few more months, I don't want all those bets. Anyway,
PayPal those yet?
45-year-old made a surprise appearance at the end of Survivor Series in his hometown of Chicago. Our own Dave Meltzer and Bryan Alvarez detailed all the...
You?
Yeah, that's what it says here. Discussed all the details on Observer Radio.
Yeah.
Dave says deal came about 10 days ago. Punk signed a multi-year agreement. TKO executives kept in the dark regarding his return. It was Nick Khan and Paul Levesque that made this deal. Vince McMahon had nothing to do with it. And Triple H at the press conference.
I hope the owner of the Atlanta Hawks and some of the other people on the board are like, oh, come on. You know,
Triple H, he posted something like hell is frozen over, something like that.
Yes.
And
mighty cold day, warm day in hell, or cold.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I wrote a column for Sports Illustrated. You know I write for Sports Illustrated? That's right. Got a column up there. It's on my X right now, at Bryan Alvarez, if you want to check that out. My Twitter.
The free X part,
to be honest,
by the way.
yes. But I have in there, all of the quotes that CM Punk said about Triple H. And I explained why I had made so many bets that this guy wasn't coming back. And honestly, like, of all of my arguments about why this guy was not going to be coming back, it had nothing to do with, what happened the first time, or, the fact that he said it would be a personal failing if he ever went back or anything like that. I presumed he would never come back because of all of the things that he said about Triple H when he was leaving, and how he never got along with Triple H, and he basically told him, I don't need a match with you at WrestleMania. You need a match with me. And man, I followed Triple H his whole career. And some bloke telling him, I don't need a match with you. You need a match with me. I was like, this dude ain't ever coming back. And then it turns out that Triple H is in charge of creative. So then when everything went down with AEW, it was like, man, what timing, brother? Triple H in charge of creative. I mean, that is like, it's not going to happen. Well, Paul Levesque said that things have changed. He's a different person. Punk is a different person. It's a different company. And I guess, hey, a lot of people say a lot of things, but he brought the guy back. So there you go. And, as I concluded in the column that I wrote for Sports Illustrated, which is up right now on my X, at the end of the day, the question is, how long does this honeymoon period last? And is CM Punk going to be a team player? Because he was clearly not a team player, as it turns out, in AEW. Everything went very badly. And, when he left, everybody was like, I shouldn't say everybody, but, the pro-Punk people were like, well, he just didn't respect anybody there. Things will be different in WWE. It's like, do you guys not remember he was in WWE for years? And that also went poorly? Now, I do believe that the guy's got to know that your career, it is all in the hands of Triple H. That's it. He has to know that. And if he's cool with that, then everything could work out great. And if not, then things are going to go south again like they did before in WWE and also in AEW. So that's the big question here. Short term, listen, is the same thing in AEW. Everything's going to be great in the short term. They're going to do a big number tonight, especially because the show, the first hour, is commercial-free, my most hated thing. But they're going to do a big number tonight, per football season standards. And I'm sure, the first time he starts going to all these towns, they're going to do well. But, the question is long-term. And I know people will get mad at me, but fact of the matter is Raw is not sold out right now. And he came back on Saturday. They announced he'd be there on Monday. And since his return at Survivor Series, they've sold about 1,000 additional tickets. But they're still 500 away from what has been set up. They could still open another 4,000 seats or so if they were like selling tickets like crazy. But right now they're at 1,000 tickets that he's sold, and there's still 500 left to sell out for what the original setup was. So this is not like, when he came in for AEW in Chicago and sold that thing out like that. That's not what this is. So a lot of questions to be answered. And the first questions will start to be answered. If I may say one more thing, Mike.
Take it.
One of the things that we don't have an answer for, which I don't have an answer for, and I'd like to know an answer to this, is, do you remember when they started doing all of those teases? And like Corey Graves would throw out some line that CM Punk did in a Ring of Honor promo 17 years ago or something.
Nakamura's GTS?
Yeah, Nakamura that one week did a GTS on the stage, and then the next week he did a GTS in the ring, and then it just stopped. It stopped, okay? And, Hunter did say, like, we didn't tell, like, nobody knew. It was me and Nick Khan. And I would presume that, and I can tell you for the most part, that's absolutely true. Because I know there were big names in WWE that knew nothing about this. And they did tell everybody before they went through the curtain for the War Games. Like, everybody in the ring during War Games knew that Punk was going to come out at the end. But, like, before that, I can't say everybody, obviously, but most people knew nothing. And so my question is, did they tell Nakamura that this was possible like a month ago, and he started doing that GTS? Or did they just, like, randomly tell him, hey, why don't you do a GTS for a couple of weeks here? What did they tell Corey Graves? Like, did those guys know? Or, like, what happened? Because Hunter did say this deal came about very late after it looked like it wasn't going to happen. So I'm wondering if maybe they were close a month ago, and that's when Corey was told to say stuff, and Nakamura was told to, like, do the GTS. And then if you recall, he only did the GTS for 2 weeks, and he never did it again. And he did do those mystery promos where he was like, he wanted to face somebody. Maybe that's Punk. Maybe it's not. I mean, we don't know. It could have been Randy Orton. It could be anybody. It could be Otis for all I know. So I don't have the answer to those questions, but I can tell everybody, like, for sure, very, very big names in WWE, and a lot of people had no idea this was going to happen as we were heading into Survivor Series. Anyway, we'll get Mike's thoughts after the break and more. Observer Live. Very quickly, if you go to my Twitter at Bryan Alvarez, no, not my Sports Illustrated column, but sticking up there at the top, it's a link to the annual Whale Scout fundraiser, trying to raise money for some habitat restoration, some trees, some tools, some mulch. There's a lot that needs to be done to restore habitat. We're restoring the former Wayne Golf Course. It's going to become a park. And there's a lot of planting and such to be done.
The Buddy Wayne Golf Course?
No. Oh. And so anyway, the fundraiser is up there right now. And at this point, your donation, there's a lot of perks up there. If you want to get a perk, you don't have to. You can just donate. But there's Whale Scout hoodies and shirts and stickers. And the Bridget cookies are up. For those of you that have ever had Vinny's wife's cookies, there's 3 batches that are going to be going out. So if you want one, you better get it now. And you can actually choose from a number of different types of cookies, and I think there might even be cakes this year. But head up there. We really appreciate it. If you tried to donate yesterday and your credit card, like the credit card thing was all screwed up, you couldn't use a credit card, it is now fixed. So you can use your
tied to Brian's email.
You can use a PayPal or a credit card. It has nothing to do with me, my email. This is my wife's nonprofit, but you're buying trees and mulch,
yes.
and that
yes,
sort of
you
thing.
can write it off on your taxes.
Yes,
that's important to you, as Brian just said. It's not some vanity project. She's actually going out and helping you.
Yeah, you can actually look at all the pictures of all the work that's been done if you click on the link right there, and you'll be flabbergasted. And I have moved a lot of that mulch personally. So if you really want to see me suffer, donate even more, because I'm the one with that shovel and rake. So anyway, we appreciate it. And in a few weeks, we'll put up the auctions for the Brian and Vinny show. So, anyway, Mike, your thoughts on this old CM Punk thing?
Well, there's a lot of different thoughts I have on it from a lot of different views, but one thing I want to push back on, because I saw it in the thread a little earlier here, I don't think Will Ospreay's signing had anything to do with anything when it comes to CM Punk. I mean, you're in Chicago for the Survivor Series. Let's just say, hypothetically, there was any question about would Randy Orton actually be ready, in tryouts and in training leading into getting back into the ring again after all that time off and a back injury, I don't know. But what I do know is the announcement of Will Ospreay signing with AEW has not benefited AEW as of yet, has not benefited WWE. They have gotten no mainstream pub out of that whatsoever. And even if they did, it wouldn't preclude you from going after CM Punk to appear at Survivor Series in Chicago for that type of reaction. To me, that's crazy. Could it be true? Hey, maybe it is. Sure. But it's really tough for me to believe. Now, when it comes to Punk, I'm not going to put myself in his mindset on going back or any of that sort of stuff. I'll just look at it from a wrestling and a TV perspective. And short term, it's fantastic. It throws another story into the lead up to WrestleMania. How will the new CM Punk wrinkle in things, possibly screw things up for Cody Rhodes? Will it screw it up for Seth Rollins? How does this play into Roman? What's going on? So I think it's actually a good thing that, okay, he's back into the mix. He's going to make a boatload of money. They're getting a boatload of attention out of it. Tonight, look, it's a ripe night to try to take advantage of a bad football game with Chicago playing Minnesota. Obviously, that's still going to do monster numbers, but, coming out of this weekend, look at where all the buzz is right now. So short term, it's going to be fantastic. I would
like to say one thing before you go on.
Go ahead.
I do believe that Will Ospreay had something to do with this, in the sense that it's not just Ospreay, but I don't think that, they were thrilled with the idea that, well, we didn't get Ospreay, we didn't get Omega, we didn't get Hangman, we didn't get the Bucks, we didn't get, it's been one after the other. And the ability to get CM Punk, like the thing with Randy Orton is they knew Orton was coming back because David had been talking about that forever. And I don't think there was any, maybe he'll be there, maybe he won't. Like Orton was coming back at Survivor Series one way or the other. And, Paul claimed, well, we, if the fans want it, which I thought was kind of funny, by the way, because they did all of those teases, and the fans were not there were not CM Punk chants after every GTS. There was no reaction whatsoever. I don't even know where he got that. So I think it was 100. Not Ospreay 100%, but like the fact that so many people chose AEW over WWE this year.
I don't know.
That was their. Well, we're gonna get this guy.
No, I still have trouble believing that because to me, yeah, Adam Copeland signing over there, okay, but we've seen other guys from WWE go sign over there, and for any buzz that it creates initially, it always dulls out. And even with Adam Copeland right now, it's dulled out. He was fantastic on Saturday, but it dulled out. It hasn't moved ratings. It hasn't done anything. There's no TMZ story about it after the initial hit.
No, but it doesn't matter.
It's going to be in the news for a while, but that's what CM Punk brings. They signed Jade. Obviously, there's going to be work that needs to be
Cody,
done there.
Jade, and Punk. They were thrilled about all of them.
And guess what? Balance those out with, again, the Bucks, Omega. Look, a lot of those people would have to be built and introduced to their audience. And I know it's a lot easier to do now than it ever has been. People knew who Finn Balor was when he showed up. People knew who, a lot of others were when they showed up. But it's like those other people, to me, it's not a level playing field when it comes to debating over, well, they got Will Ospreay. We had to say something. We had to do something. We needed some sort of fix. I don't think that.
Well, yes, because you're looking at that like you would look at it. But you have to look at things the way that Nick Khan looks at it. And Nick Khan is all about perception. And what the perception is everybody's going to AEW. Not only everybody re-signing, but they lost Edge. Edge went to AEW. And, I mean, they were so thrilled to get Cody when they got Cody.
Yeah.
And they jumped on Jade. They jumped on Jade.
I just think
who, by the way, they used to have and they let go. But once she was in AEW, they were all over her, and she's going to get a huge push.
But the thing is, you get CM Punk, you can have that notoriety, you can have that attention. It to me, one doesn't balance the other, because at any point they could have made a deal, and obviously they were working on one with CM Punk. Obviously, if you look into what Triple H was saying there, I'm sure they had talks after he left AEW. And I'm sure it was, it's a big score for them. But I think no matter what AEW is doing, it's bringing CM Punk on board and promoting him in the way that they did at the end of that pay-per-view. That's far more important than, the Young Bucks, re-signed over
I think
here.
you'd be very surprised. And I also think...
I think I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think you're overselling it. I honestly believe.
Well, I'll tell you why else I don't think I'm overselling it. Because you don't think that there is a reason that the main event segment on SmackDown for weeks now has been all built around Damage Control and the women's War Games, and they're pushing that angle so hard because they don't want Sasha to go to AEW. Yeah. They're going to make her a huge deal. Bayley's going to be booted out, and they've been talking about the Horsewomen over and over again. They don't want to lose Sasha. So I think that all of this...
But, Brian, you know what? The thing is, even if they did, look at what has gone with anybody that's gone over to AEW. And at the end of the day, if you're WWE, other than the pettiness factor, I don't think you should be too concerned or too worried.
But it is the pettiness factor. It is. That's what it's all about for Nick Khan right now, is the perception of people want to come here, not just go there, which has actually been the story for like years now. Tony just signs these guys. He signs these guys, signs these guys, signs these guys. And I don't think they want that perception. Do I think, obviously... Do I think that right now, of all times, they need CM Punk? Of course not.
No.
They're on fire. It's the hottest they've been in 2 decades. What do they need What do they need anybody for? They don't need anybody right now.
Roman Reigns is literally sitting on a wall behind glass with an emergency sign on him saying, when needed, break it.
Well, they're doing just fine, and they don't need anybody. And this is not just like a CM Punk thing. Like, do they need Brock Lesnar right now? No. Do they need John Cena right now? No. Do they don't need anybody right now. They're doing great. But they brought in CM Punk, who, I mean, we can go through the laundry list of things that happened involving WWE and the lawsuit and AEW. And literally the last thing that happened in AEW is went after his boss. And then now here he
Allegedly.
is. And, well, I mean, Tony Khan said he feared for his life. I don't think you're going to make that up. That would
Jack
be
Perry's not back yet.
quite,
Maybe it was Jack Perry was the maniac in that.
I don't. But then he would have fired Jack Perry, brother. What are we doing here? So anyway, he's back. He'll be on Raw tonight, and we'll obviously have a lot to talk about tomorrow. I presume that it's possible that maybe his first feud will be with Nakamura, but they did a deal after the main event where Seth had to be held back. And Seth was at a house show this weekend, and he did a promo, and he said, "I'm not going to waste any more breath on somebody who has been gone for 8 years and has done nothing but try to tear this place down. Instead, I want to take my time, waste my breath, use my breath talking about people who have been here all along. That's everybody in the back who's made WWE the hottest ticket in town, and that's every single one of you who are here tonight in Peoria." Now, keep in mind that he did an interview a couple of months ago where he said that Punk was a cancer. And, the question, I mean, there's a lot of questions, but clearly we're going for Seth Rollins versus CM Punk for the world title. But also, who's the babyface here? Punk coming in as a heel? Because we're going to find out tonight. Back in a moment. Observer Live.
Okay, Vince, bells rang. I don't know if you're wrestling, some clown. Okay, first off, your lock up. Your right arm is going way out here, okay? Why would you do that for real? Your arm goes behind the dude's head. This has to be like it's real, okay? Backing off like this, it looks phony, okay? Everything you do needs to look real. I know it's hard with this dude right here with the no hair, whatever the hell, this multicolored whatever. Okay, that looks a little bit better, but again, you're pushing it back there and you just stand right there. Don't ever throw a forearm again. You understand? Look at those, horrible. And first off, half the crowd is chanting that it's phony. And the best part is, the guy that is filming is burying you. The filmer. The dude who's filming has never taken a bump in his life, and he's here making fun of you. That was alright. When you take a bump, dude, have you ever seen me take a bump? The legs go up in the air, you hit out to the side. Look at you right here. Look at that. You got your neck up like this and your legs are all bent. Hit the mat, dude. He lifts you up there, you're going up with him. Okay? You're just standing there. Okay? That was decent. Oh my god. Oh my god. Dude, you have to jump. Did you guys work this out at all beforehand? Dude, don't even tell me that this is the finish. If he does a people's elbow and pins you, this clown, is this your first match? Look at that, even the guy that's filming is laughing at you. Even the guy that's filming. You just got pinned by... Dude, hey, I'm just trying to help.
also had a Survivor Series. Man, these maniacs in the YouTube chat. Holy smokes. Well,
level-headed?
Oh, yeah, I'm always level-headed. Always level-headed. Then there's a Twitch chat, which is actually level-headed. For the most part. Should do a deal where if you want to be non-level-headed, just go to the YouTube chat. And then vice versa. But anyway, we are free on YouTube Monday through Friday, guys.
It's like going to class and then going out for recess.
Noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. So head over there and join the fun. So we had this pay-per-view, and as my buddy Mark said, wasn't much of a show until the end, although I did think the two War Games matches were excellent matches. Although the women's War Games, that was like...
long.
Well, they're both long because they got those long...
No, too many
whatevers.
spots long. You know it. Come on.
No, the issue was they did it. They're determined every year to have one War Games match where the babyfaces have the advantage. And they did it with the women.
So dumb.
And sure enough, it led to all of the heels getting huge babyface pops whenever they hit the ring to even the odds. And they even, on top of that, let Asuka, who is a heel, be the person to get the beloved table. So she got the biggest pop of the entire match.
The inanimate object was the most over person in the match.
No, Asuka was when she got the inanimate object. And then they go nuts. They're just like destroying these baby faces with all these cool moves. And it was just like so backwards. And then Bayley's making the save, and she's doing everything to prevent her team from losing. But in fact, she gets pinned. Because actually, ironically, or coincidentally, or whatever, in both War Games matches, the end result is exactly the same. The loser is on their way to getting booted. Bayley is on her way to getting booted out of Damage Control. It's inevitable. And they've been teasing as well forever. Damian Priest, his days as a member of the Judgment Day are limited. But I don't think they're going to pull the trigger on both imminently. Although I wouldn't be surprised if something happened either tonight or on SmackDown. But once the match beyond began, as they used to call it, the Women's War Games match I thought was an excellent match. And Becky at the manhandle slam through a table on Bayley, pinned her, and the babyfaces won.
Kids don't know that there were two components to that match, do they?
Well, they do. They just don't call it that nowadays. But they make it clear that there are two components now.
War Games, and then the match beyond.
Now, the three following matches all could have been TV matches. The Gunther-Miz match. Should I go on the YouTube chat for this one so people can tell me how awesome Miz is and how he carried Gunther? Okay, so here's the story. Let's be honest. This was a below-par Gunther match and an above-average Miz match. And if you put it together, that's what you got here. So, you know, they had one great near fall, which is like an idiot-proof near fall. Kick the guy twice in the balls and then give him your finish. But Gunther kicked out. The fans did think that might be the finish. I don't know how, but they did. And then Gunther, because Miz was about to tie Chris Jericho if he won this match for 9 Intercontinental titles, Gunther made sure to beat him with the Lion Tamer. I thought that was a incredible touch that they did there.
You know why Gunther's such a great Intercontinental champion?
Because he's awesome?
Because he went to house shows when he was a kid. Biked there even when he was a little wee Gunther in Germany.
Wow. Do we have to get on Dave for questioning Miz's fandom?
Don't move this away from you. You are the noted Miz hater. You are the noted Miz putter downer of all time.
I don't hate...
The most dismissive man of Mike Mizanin that's ever walked the planet.
Let me rephrase this. I have nothing against Michael Mizanin, as Gunther would call him. I think he's probably a great guy, great father, happy for his success. As a wrestler, sucks. That's it. It's my job. I review the wrestling, not everyone's personal lives. Then we had Santos Escobar and Dragon Lee. This was a good match, but it was a disappointment. And it was a disappointment because I watched Dragon Lee and Axiom, and they absolutely tore it up on SmackDown. And I thought, man, Santos and Dragon Lee after that match, man, this is going to be great. And it was good. And it was 8 minutes, and it was over, and Santos won. That was that.
It was an 8-minute story, to get Santos over and to keep the... Again, Dragon Lee, I understand why it was Dragon Lee, but I wish they could have brought somebody else out there to be the example, even though I know this is, again, playing with him and the LWO and Latin American members. Or
this guy on YouTube says, "Bro, we've seen your matches, Brian. How the hell can you critique someone?" Are you kidding me? What's funny is my matches played during the commercial break. Find me one match in my whole life where I ever threw one worse kick than every kick that Miz threw in that Gunther match. Find me one. Oh, you won't.
Who was better? You with your improv skills doing the skits here, or Mike the Miz on any number of his game shows / reality shows that he's
Don't even get me started. Then we had Rhea and Zoe Stark. There was a little bit of sloppiness in this match, but to be fair, I watched this on the same day that I watched that Gravity and Commander versus House of Black match. And so I can't even say the word sloppiness in reference to this one.
No.
So they had it was good. Rhea beat her. I mean, these three matches, there was no doubt what was going to happen here because they weren't beating Santos right after he turned. And then we had the main event men's War Games match. So at the beginning of the show, they said, Randy is not here. And they immediately turned down the mics and people started the loud CM Punk chant. So I did not expect that CM Punk was going to be here tonight. And so I thought, they have lost their minds. What are they doing? Okay? But what I should have thought is, this is too stupid for this current day WWE. If this were 3 years ago with Vince in charge, yeah, he could be that stupid. But say what you will about WWE, they aren't this stupid. I should have figured that out. So throughout the show, you had Randy chants and you had CM Punk chants. And they do the match, and everyone's in the cage, and the last guy has to come out. Who's it going to be? And the fans are chanting for Punk. The fans are chanting for Orton.
Well, hold on. Before you even go there, they even threw another curveball in on, okay, maybe we're going to get something that's not CM Punk, or maybe we do, because they have Rhea Ripley run down there with the briefcase as Damian Priest is going to cash in right before Randy Orton comes out. So they had that little kind of swerve in there, too, to kind of make you forget about Punk for a second.
Well, I was going to get to that.
Go ahead.
So instead of somebody coming out, it's Rhea with the briefcase. So everyone's all excited. They think there's going to be a cash-in. But right when she's about to give the briefcase for Damian Priest, well, here comes Randy Orton. And he looks like you took the old Randy Orton, and you know those bicycle pumps? Pump this guy up. He's gigantic. He's 43 years old. He just had back fusion surgery. He's bigger than he's ever been in his life. And he comes out, and man, this place they lost it. They were so excited to see Randy. And he runs wild, and they give JD they throw him off the cage. Randy hits the RKO. But then they pin Priest, which initially I was like, what? Why didn't they just pin JD? But then I recalled that the storyline for months has been that the Judgment Day claims we have no leader. And they all agree we have no leader. But then 2 weeks ago, Damian Priest got all angry about something, and he declared himself the leader. And they all looked at him like, what? And then later he explains, I got mad, there's no leader. But then Rhea says, well, we do need a captain for the War Games. We need someone to captain this team, and I think it should be you, Damian. And so he gets the captain gig. But then the next week, he doesn't just declare himself the captain of the team. He again says he is the leader of the Judgment Day. Well, he went in, and old leader of the Judgment Day done got pinned there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to have a lot to answer for on Raw tonight. But anyway, they win. The babyfaces win. And then, by the way, Drew McIntyre storms out. And this one was not storyline. He stormed out, and he was mad, and he got his stuff, and he left. And he later cooled off, and he was back at a house show the next day, so
Peoria.
Things appear to be all right. But what was definitely at work was Seth Rollins flipping out on CM Punk there at the end. But anyway, CM Punk debuts, and he comes out, The place absolutely loses their minds, which is hilarious because earlier in the show, every time there was a CM Punk chant, there would be another half of the building trying to drown him out with booze. But then the guy shows up and they're like, ah! They're so happy. Go! He's in my town!
Imagine if he came out with a table.
It's like, he's always in your town. It's Chicago. But anyway, they're all happy. And he celebrates with these blokes in the front row.
Yeah.
And that's it. He's back.
They were happy in Chicago. Let's see if they're happy everywhere else. Again.
Brother, I was happy this show was only 3 hours long.
Well, yeah. Thank God I actually watched that and then attempted to watch Collision and Rampage. I didn't make it past Collision. I'm sorry. That was such a bad show. That show, if you're going to watch it, watch up until Edge/Adam Copeland cuts the promo. Then from there, don't even bother with the rest of it. And I didn't even bother watching Rampage. It's just everything about it, even down to the commercial timing, was off on that show. Just not a good effort at all. But I was in a bad mood too. Auburn got killed.
Oh, get out of here. Do your job, brother. You know you missed on those two shows?
On Rampage? I watched Collision. Why don't you do your job and listen to what I'm saying instead of trying to play
No, you said you
around
didn't
with
watch
the chat.
Rampage.
So I didn't watch the Rampage.
Yeah, you missed Shibata losing his title and getting out of here.
I heard about it.
That's
I listen to the wrestling news.
very important thing that happened there. Yeah, Shibata's gone. He's going back to Japan.
I was going to say, yeah, not for, the match itself, whatever, but it's actually because he's going back to Japan.
Well, he also lost the Pure title to Wheeler. And then they set up Wheeler and Hook, so they are continuing on with that one. And yes, the only two things I got to mention from Collision is the middle portion of this show. My God.
Yeah.
The Buddy Matthews and Malachi versus Gravity and Commander. And then the Lady Frost versus Julia Hart. Pittsburgh's own Lady Frost against Julia Hart. And then FTR versus the Righteous.
Well, she was not announced as such to the crowd.
She was in the graphic.
Yeah, but
the graphic
the crowd,
said
they
that.
announced her from being from Norway or wherever the hell her
Whatever.
gimmick's from.
But anyway, we had three.
It's not like they said that because you're giving the impression they said Pittsburgh's own, and of course they would have said,
Brother,
where's Britt Baker?
Brother, they did the graphic for the thing that said Pittsburgh's own.
I know.
I'm sorry they didn't say the words, but that's literally how they advertise it.
Yeah, but you're acting like to the crowd that's what they did. But
they
I know,
did.
so
They put it up on
Pittsburgh's
the
own.
big screen that the crowd's looking at.
Why does this bother you so much with the exception of Britt Baker?
Because where is
being
she?
Pittsburgh own. I don't. Hopefully tending to Adam.
What is he, a child?
Well, have you seen those skits?
Golly.
He couldn't even get out of Roderick's
Good thing
house.
he's on his YouTube, his Twitch chat, and not this one, or he'd be furious.
Why did Britt never call when he was down there? Why was it only MJF trying to call him when he was trapped, knowing he needs surgery? Her man is just off.
The point is, we
about.
had 3 straight matches with botched spots in every single match, including, I swear to God, that Gravity match was the worst AEW match I've ever seen. It had to be.
Yeah.
But the main event of this show, with Eddie Kingston and Brody King, was so awesome that it made up for all of it to me. They had the meanest mean guy match you ever saw, and it ruled. And Eddie Kingston got beat. Back in a moment, Observer Live.
Well, the pool here pretty much wraps up this tour. You can see 4'3". Actually a pretty nice pool, but I got the movie room, I got the basketball court, I got the view, and the whole thing is, on a day when I'm stressed, and God knows today was a stressful day, Vince, this is the place that I go at the end of the day to relax, because there's nothing better than taking a good swim after a long, dare I say, dirty day. So anyway, before I go, I just want to say thanks to everyone for watching the film today. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy even more the rest of the tape, because despite the fact that Vince here is on it, in several of the matches, they're actually pretty good. So just want to thank everyone for coming, and I will spend the rest of the day probably enjoying the pool here. You want to go swimming, Vince? We got to go back and get the shorts there. We can go. It's my shorts. Vince, you know what? You are the man. You are the dude. And I can't believe you brought these. Let me just say one thing. We've had a rough day. You shoveled dirt on my shoes, you poured popcorn on me, and God knows what else. But in the end, as usual, it's you, which is why you're maybe a lackey, but you're a lackey. And I have something for you, Vince, for what you've done for me today. It's a nice shiny quarter. Dude, it's all I got. I'm giving you all I got. I just want to say thanks. You know, we could probably go swimming. Is that a cheeseburger wrapper? Miss, is that a cheeseburger wrapper there? You threw a cheeseburger wrapper in the pool, didn't you? Get it out. Yes, okay, yes, good. Hey, the thing right here. Yeah, so I understand you like cheeseburgers, but you can't take the wrapper and throw it out. Maybe you brought a towel with you as well. Oh yeah, thanks.
Back on the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Tonight, actually a lot coming up today for subscribers, WrestlingObserver.com or video.f4wonline.com. Obviously, video.f4wonline.com is the YouTube channel, gets you all of the live shows that you don't get for free, obviously. And then WrestlingObserver.com, you can grab the podcasts. We got two big shows coming up today. Filthy Tom Lawler is up in an hour. 2 Pacific, 5 Eastern. Live at video.f4wonline.com. Podcast up afterwards at WrestlingObserver.com. And he'll be talking a lot, actually, including Survivor Series, SmackDown, his favorite show, Rampage, presumably some Collision. So we got a lot to talk about with him. And then late tonight, Dave Meltzer, Wrestling Observer Radio. We will recap Raw, talk all of the news, give you the latest on CM Punk. A lot coming up tonight. Also, WrestlingObserver.com or video.f4wonline.com. Some of you missed out that $3.99 Black Friday special. Don't know what to tell you, but you missed out. But there's always next year. Or just today.
Yeah.
There's never a bad time.
No.
To sign up and get all of this great audio. So we're going to wrap it up for today. Enjoy Raw tonight, especially that commercial-free first hour. And we'll be back here to talk about it tomorrow. Thanks, Mike, as always. Callers and listeners, everybody in the studio. We'll talk to you next time. Wrestling Observer Live.